This is William. In 1998, at the age of 2, William was diagnosed with cancer.
He was a real bright, happy little boy. Absolutely adored playing with his brother and swimming. Swimming was his love. We taught them all to swim from a very early age, so a few months old, so he was a really skilled swimmer even at the age of 2. He was just a really, really bright star, always happy, cheeky as well. But whenever we tried to film him, he would always try and get behind the camera and say, "Can I see? Can I see?" So on all the video we've got, you invariably see William disappear from the front of the camera to behind, going, "Can I see?"
William was taken into the doctors and an operation was conducted to remove the tumour from his spine. The operation was successful and the tumour was identified as benign. Yet only a few days later, the family received the terrible news that the tumour was malignant.
Well, I think it was horrible. Obviously, you don't really believe it, but I think immediately we went into this kind of practical way of thinking. I was a nurse by training. Peter did biosciences, and so we kind of clicked into practical mode, and we talked to the consultants, talked to everybody we could. We tried to find things around the world, that perhaps we didn't have available here.
Once the doctors could tell that the tumour was malignant, they then had to decide how to treat it. Yet the treatment could not begin because the tumour could not be identified. As William recovered from his spinal surgery and relearnt to walk, the doctors decided on a tenuous diagnosis and his treatment of chemotherapy and radiotherapy began.
Obviously in the cycle of chemotherapy you have down days and up days and so on. And so when he had down days he just was very, very quiet. He didn't make a fuss, he was just quiet. But what he did do is he did command from wherever he was, whether he was in a chair, on the bed, on the sofa. Everybody else seemed to just naturally gravitate towards William and do whatever it was he wanted to do. He coped with it really, really well, and at no time did he ever say anything like, "Why me?" or "Why have I got this?" He did say, however, one night when he was up in the night from the chemotherapy effects, he said to me, "Mummy, you know God?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, he didn't put my hair in right, it's all falling out." And I went back to bed and wrote it down after he'd gone to sleep because I thought I won't remember these things. And he was always saying things like that, but sadly I didn't always write them down.
William joined nursery in September 2000 and wore his uniform proudly. Yet soon after, he began to falter, and the family found out that the tumour had spread and knew that nothing more could be done.
Well, when we were at the hospital, as I said, we spent a lot of time there. We were there for sort of 2.5 years on and off, and we spent a lot of time learning about what was available, what wasn't available, what was known, and mostly what wasn't known. And we asked our consultant if there was anything we could do to help, because obviously we'd had a lot of help and treatment from the NHS. And Dr. Mitchell said that he had been doing some research into childhood cancers, but he'd had to stop because he didn't have any money. There was no funding going into childhood cancer research at that time. So we asked him how much he needed, and he said roughly about £45,000 a year. So we said, right, we'll do that then.
The family started raising money by producing hand-drawn Christmas cards, conducting events and raising money to combat child cancer, all in the name of William.
Child cancers differ from adult cancers mostly because of the way they rise, and of course with adult cancers they're largely due to the length of the longevity, so age-related mutations in cells, but also lifestyle, so things like drinking and smoking all affect your cells and introduce mutations, whereas children haven't been exposed to these environmental factors, so the origin of the cancer is slightly different. The issue of childhood cancer is very important because it's underfunded at the moment. The secondary effects which occur as adults are a cost to the personal life of the children and a cost to the National Health Service. So if we can really beat cancer at the beginning, then you avoid all these later effects that you get with current treatments.
Well, William would have been 21 in March this year, so we would really dearly like to get to £1 million in his 21st year, which would be phenomenal. That's not to say we would stop if we get to £1 million, because the research is too important, but it would be a great landmark for us, and it would be a great legacy for William to have reached that. A lot of people just simply don't know, as we didn't know, and as in fact scientists didn't know until recently, that childhood cancer is completely different to adult cancer, and we're talking solid tumours, not the leukemias. So to treat them the same, it just doesn't work. You can treat an adult one the same as an adult cancer the same as a child cancer, and it'll behave completely differently. So we need to progress forward with the actual treatments and advances for childhood cancers. We need to find out why they occur and stop them from spreading.